So let's take a look at this problem right here. And for this first series of problems, we're just going to focus on expanding. So what I want you to do is, sorry about that, what I want you to do is I want you to expand those. And, or excuse me, just expand that logarithm. Had a little microphone malfunction. So if I wanted to expand that, I'd first have to figure out which operation is happening there inside the logarithm right here. Okay, and that's a big deal because that tells me which one of those properties to utilize. So I'd have to realize that there in the logarithm, it's 6 times x. So if I can kind of go back to my list here, and I can clear off a bunch of this writing that's sort of cluttering up the screen. If I go back to that list, if I'm multiplying two numbers, that looks a lot like this one right down here. If I'm multiplying those two numbers, then I need to split it up by setting the log of the first plus the log of the second. So I'm going to utilize that property here, and I'll say that this is log base 4 of 6 plus log base 4 of x. Okay, and I'm sort of using that property to say that if I multiply the numbers, then I'm adding exponents. That's kind of the way that we want to have that mental hook in our head. Okay, and that is as far as it's going to get expanded out because there are no other properties that work in there. I don't see any multiplication or exponents or division. So we'll look at the next one, log base 3 of x over 8. And you know, it's pretty obvious to see I've got x divided by 8, so I'm looking for the division property, which up here on the top, remember the way that this worked itself out was that I took, just like with the exponents, with the exponential properties, where I said if I divide numbers, I subtract the exponents. So we'll go back here, and I'm dividing these numbers, so what I'll do is subtract the exponents. We'll make it log base 3 of x minus log base 3 of 8. And just another little trick to remember is that division or fraction symbol looks a lot like that subtraction symbol, so that might be another little mental hook for you. Okay? And then finally, we'll take a look at this last expansion, log base 5 of x to the third. And we'll figure out which property we're looking at. And the last one that we had was this one in the middle, which is exponents. And remember that little mental hook that if I take a number and raise it to a power, then I multiply the exponent. So I'm going to bring that exponent out front. Okay, so we'll get back down here. And in this case, we'll take the 3, bring it out front. Since I have x to the third right here, which is a number being raised to a power, then I'll bring that power out front, and I'm going to multiply the exponents. Okay. Well, if I, just like a lot of different things in math, if you figure out how to do things and simplify them one way, then that probably means that you know how to do it backwards as well, or how to go the other direction. So, for example, here, this problem looks a lot like the answer to this problem, right? I've got the 3 in front of the log base 5x, and here I've got 4 in front of log base 6y. So it looks like this problem I'm looking at here used to be something that I expanded, and now I need to learn to go back to its original form. So this is where the part about the learning target says we're going to condense log expressions. On this one, I'd have you condense this. And when we condense it, we make it more simple. It's like we go back to its simple state. And in here, in this problem, we would just bring the 4 back to log base 6 of y to the 4th. Okay? So that we can kind of see that it's almost like I had this problem, log base 6y to the 4th, and simplified it to 4 times log base 6y. But really the problem asked you to do just the opposite. We were starting with 4 log base 6 of y and simplifying it or condensing it to log base 6 of y to the 4th. Next one, Looks a lot similar to something that we looked at. In fact, this is basically the one from the intro. And on the intro, we figured out how to go from the basic expression to this, which is the expanded form. Now let's make sure that we know how to go back. So kind of now we can, if you're not that comfortable with that mental hook, you can kind of look at it as the mental hook going backwards. Look at this like I'm adding two exponents together. And the only time that I added two exponents together is when I was multiplying the bases. So we're going to multiply those numbers. Okay, multiply numbers means add exponents. So log base 6, 7 times 5. Okay, and you know, you can simplify that. I mean, I really want you to get that step down and learn that. But we could also simplify that a step further and make that log base 6 of 35. Okay? And let's take a look at another one. We got one more on the list, which was the subtraction. And remember, just whatever little way that you can remember it, that that subtraction symbol looks a lot like the fraction bar. And going backwards, remember, subtracting the exponents meant that we were dividing at one point. So log base 6 of 54 over 27. And again, my apologies. This the smartboard and this screen recording software don't work really great together, but you know, it gets the job done. But it looks like maybe a 3-year-old's writing for me, and I promise my handwriting looks better than that. So we could even simplify that a step further, right? And we could say that that is log base 6, 54 divided by 27 would be 2.